Have you noticed that we don't sing together anymore? This used to be the favorite pastime of people 100 years ago. Get together with your friends, your neighbors, gather around somebody's piano and or guitar and sing your favorite tunes, right? And this scene, this getting together and singing together, might seem hard to connect with nowadays. I can't remember the last time I've done something like that. Maybe at a party or a gathering once years ago. And I'm sure some of you do that regularly, but overall, that form of connecting, that means of community, finding community, is just not really there for most of us, especially in the US. And I believe that in large part this is due to the role of technology. At least that's one factor. So like you have a recording, so you listen to that instead, or you just go on your device instead of hanging out with the people in your life. And I believe that we're suffering because of that. We are, especially in the US, our sense of community is really disintegrating, and has disintegrated for a long time. I don't really know my neighbors that well, and it's because I don't really need them. They don't really need me. We can just go on an app or hire a professional. And yeah, so there are a lot of reasons why we don't have the same sense of community, and I would argue creativity and connection that we used to. And a lot of that has to do with the role of technology, the increasing predominance of technology in our lives in general, and specifically in the arts. And that's what I want to explore today. The role of technology in the arts, and yeah, just so you can get a sense of what's happening, maybe put words to something you've been experiencing. So my name is Joseph Arnold. I'm a violinist, Alexander technique teacher, and the director of the Soulforce Arts Institute. And today I'm going to be reading from my upcoming book, Soulforce Arts, The Vital Role of Musicians and Other Artists in a World That's Lost Its Mind. And this, I'm building on my last video. I'll put the link below. My last video is an excerpt from my first chapter where I was talking about how the role of money has cheapened the arts in a lot of ways. And today it's about the role of technology, how technology has cheapened and made us less creative, less connected. So I'm just going to read an excerpt and maybe share some thoughts on the other side of that. And yeah, this is just a draft of my book, so it might change in the final product, but you'll get the gist of it. We used to sing together. The cheapening of the arts is also partly due to the increasing role of technology. Even though, in general, technology has improved our lives in countless ways, it often carries a hidden cost. In the arts, it has led to the loss of creativity and connection. A clear example of this is recorded music. On the one hand, recorded music has brought incredible benefits to society, including the ability for audiences to hear music from faraway places and for artists to share their music more widely. But recorded music is now so ubiquitous and inexpensive that, for example, many people throwing a party now choose just to plug in an iPod rather than deal with the hassle of a live band. This trend, writ large, has led to a massive decline of live music in our society. The result is that even though many of us still love live music, many more of us are now so accustomed to canned music that we no longer realize what we're missing. Another hidden cost of recorded music technology is a decline in our creative abilities. The power and ease of use of recording technology is now such that anybody can program a beat with just a few clicks of a computer mouse. The upside is that we can make a decent sounding beat without going through the laborious, years-long process of becoming an accomplished drummer. But skipping this hands-on learning process has a hidden consequence. It robs us of the full richness of the creative experience. It's not that programming beats on a computer is somehow inherently less creative than playing a drum set. Rather, the real-world process of becoming an accomplished drummer grants access to a deeper experience of creativity, mastery, and accomplishment than is otherwise possible. The result of the ever-increasing use of recording technology is that fewer and fewer of us have the felt sense of being a truly creative person. A further cost of recorded music can be seen in the disintegration of community in our society. Not that long ago, our Saturday evenings would have been filled by gathering around a piano in someone's parlor and singing our favorite tunes. This would bring people together and affirm a sense of belonging. But the ever-increasing predominance of recorded music has undermined this source of human connection. Nowadays, the vast majority of music is passively consumed, usually in isolation, and while staring at a screen with headphones on. All too often, technological advance in the arts and elsewhere comes at the cost of the full experience of creativity and connection. Another example of this is actually in the advent of writing. Because every technology has its upsides and downsides. And I'm not saying that technology is bad or anything like that. What I really want to invite is just taking a look at the upsides and the downsides so that you can have a more conscious relationship with the technology in your life, and then use that relationship or bring that new awareness to your arts, whatever that is, and maybe that'll help you prevent some of the disintegration and cheapening that I notice. So I'll just give another example of that trade-off, how that happens. So let's take a look at the advent of writing. One of the earliest written things in Western society or civilizations is Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, those great epic tales. And Homer didn't write these. He was the first person simply to transcribe them. These were folk tales that had been passed down generation to generation. So who knows how long these tales have been around. And what's really amazing about these is that they're so long, right? Have you seen those books? The book with the Iliad and the Odyssey was like this thick. And yet, before the advent of writing, how did people tell these stories? How did they remember all those details? They memorized all of it. They had elaborate techniques of memorization. And I remember hearing that about somebody who recited the Odyssey, and like for 2 or 3 hours a day, and it took 2 weeks. So this is not an insignificant amount of memorization, right? It's also a huge task to memorize all of that. But imagine the difference, like in terms of the richness of that skill of memorization, and also the connection you get from having an oral tradition happen, telling the story or receiving the story, the human connection that happens. Once writing happened, there was less of both of those. Writing had a huge advantage, right? You didn't have to do all that work to memorize things. You could pass something down without requiring the next person to memorize it. And you could pass something down many, many, many ages. We have books that are written from civilizations that no longer exist. And the things that they memorized don't exist anymore, but the things they wrote down do exist, and we can read those. And that's a great blessing to us. So you can see how there's this trade-off that happens. And the question comes up like, well, what do you do if technology, like recorded music, has made us less creative in some ways and less connected in some ways? Then what do we do? What do we do about that? And I'll say it first, that there really isn't like an easy 3-step process or anything like that. As with anything, a real change can happen simply by becoming more aware of the issue itself. So you notice the role of technology, you notice that desire for community, you notice how one form of technology has, you notice that trade-off in something that you use, like your phone or something, and you just place your attention on that for a few moments, saying, that's what that is. And I can't tell you exactly what's going to be the result of that. Something might come up for you, some new little insight or an action step or just a new feeling of space in your body, or a new urgency to do something might come up. And it's in those non-predetermined kind of impulses that our solutions will come from. As with anything, the first step is just to be aware of the problem. And you let it in. You let it in when you see it. Say, oh, that's what that is. Right? And that by itself plants some seeds that may sprout in, again, new insights or feelings or creative impulses, action steps. So I invite you to notice the role of technology in your life in general and specifically in the arts. How has it shaped your life? How has it changed your choices? What are you grateful for? What could you do without? Just notice all those things. Maybe let me know as well. I'd love to hear from you. You can write in the comments below. Okay, good. So if you enjoy this kind of material, you want to hear more about my Soulforce Arts approach and my book and how to tap into a deeper source of wisdom and creativity and love and ease within, then please do subscribe to my channel, or you can go to josepharnold.com and subscribe to my newsletter. And you can also reach out to me to ask any questions. I'd love to hear from you. Yeah, okay. That's all for now. I'll see you next time.